7 days was more than enough time. That's a stupid excuse in my view, that it wasn't enough time. If anything, our election should be like Britain and like other countries. They don't need 100 days. She was actually doing fine after the first few months.
Next time have an actual primary where a woman candidate can prove her worth and not just be stuck in and nominated at the very last minute because you had a dotard running that you wouldn't fess up to.
The Democrats are still in denial, clinging to falsehoods to defend one of the worst decisions in their party's history, but leave it to Bill Maher to expose their delusion. In a recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the outspoken comedian did not hold back. He called out former DNC Chair Donna Brazile for what he described as willful ignorance. She buried her head in the sand, and Maher was not about to let that slide. Welcome to the channel where we break down the hottest political firestorms of the week. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and let's dive in.
We're likely to see a conservative female president before a liberal one. Oh, that's an interesting question.
I think we'll see a Democratic. We've had three. We've had Geraldine Ferraro as a nominee, Hillary Clinton as a nominee, Kamala Harris as a nominee. We will have a Democratic female president in my lifetime.
I say.
And the asteroid will not hit her. She will deflect it, and with her superpowers, things will be okay.
Can I make one suggestion?
What?
Not a vice president named Tim.
Okay.
You know, enough with a lady and a Tim.
Okay.
Remember Tim Kaine?
Tim Kaine. Okay.
Tim Walsh.
Okay.
The segment began with a thought-provoking question, and Donna Brazile responded with an equally interesting answer. But that is a topic for later in this video. What really caught my attention in the clip I just played was how quickly Donna rushed to include Kamala Harris among the ranks of distinguished Democratic female presidential nominees. Now say what you will about Hillary Clinton. She had her flaws, sure, but she also had undeniable leadership skills. Geraldine Ferraro, too, brought political gravitas to the table, but Kamala Harris really, that comparison just does not hold water. Thankfully, the rest of the panel was not buying it either, and they were quick to challenge Donna's revisionist take.
It's interesting how many global women leaders have come from the right. I mean, Britain's now had 3 conservative female prime ministers before it had a single Labour one. The current conservative leader is a young black woman called Kemi Badenoch.
Right.
Now, that's pretty amazing, I think. And it's lovely that no one really makes a big deal out of it.
Well,
Either we look at Merkel as a Christian Democrat, Indira Gandhi, Maher, these are hard-ass women.
Hard-ass women.
And there's something about that iron lady kind of, I'm going to go to war with the whole feminine shtick that's kind of really potent in the human psyche.
Well, I think people think that a woman leader has to kind of overcompensate a little towards strength, and people are drawn to strength.
Andrew Sullivan and Bill Maher did not waste time. They quickly dismantled Donna Brazile's arguments with sharp observations and solid facts. And frankly, I think it is not just Americans. People across the globe are increasingly drawn to conservatism over liberalism. Whether it is due to economic concerns, cultural values, or a desire for stronger leadership, right-leaning political parties are gaining traction worldwide. That growing trend often reflects a deeper dissatisfaction with progressive policies that feel out of touch. But let us be clear that broader political shift is not the reason Kamala Harris failed to resonate with voters. As we will explore shortly, her loss runs much deeper than party lines.
Next time have an actual primary where a woman candidate can prove her worth and not just be stuck in and nominated at the very last minute because you had a dotard running that you wouldn't fess up to?
Well, first of all,
isn't the DNC responsible for that?
That's not fair.
First of all, we had a primary.
I don't know, but it doesn't sound good.
Joe and Kamala did win enough delegates. 14 million people participated in it, and we should not disenfranchise those Americans.
I would not exactly use the word poised to describe Kamala Harris, but let us be honest, her behavior, especially in the White House and on the campaign trail, left a lot to be desired. She had a baffling habit of bursting into laughter when there was absolutely nothing to laugh about. She dodged serious questions with vague, meandering responses and delivered some of the most cringe-inducing word salads in recent political memory. Instead of projecting strength or clarity, she often came across as unprepared and out of touch. At times, it felt like even she did not understand what she was trying to say. And that is not just a bad look, it is a credibility problem, especially when you are a heartbeat away from the presidency. And there, it is the denial front and center. The Democrats simply refuse to admit that Kamala Harris was a weak candidate. Instead, they cling to the excuse that she only had 107 days to campaign, as if that magically absolves her from failing to connect with voters. They argue she did not have enough time to get her message across, ignoring the fact that what little message she did manage to share was muddled, uninspiring, and often incoherent. That is not a time issue. It is a candidate issue. And this is exactly where Bill Maher stepped in, cutting through the spin with a dose of brutal honesty that the left so desperately needs but constantly resists.
So many wrong things said here by everybody. I'd like to correct some of them. She's not a dotard. Shirley Chisholm didn't get anywhere. That's to our point.
No, but
it's a different kind.
It lays some groundwork for others later. So
107 days was more than enough time. That's a stupid excuse in my view, that it wasn't enough time. If anything, our election should be like Britain and like other countries. They don't need 100 days. She was actually doing fine after the first few months.
In today's media, saturated world filled with television, radio podcasts, websites, and social media, presidential candidates do not need 100 days to introduce themselves or communicate their message. Voters are constantly bombarded with sound bites, interviews, debates, viral clips, and commentary. Morning shows, cable news panels, and digital platforms break down every political moment in real time, making it easier than ever for the average American to understand who a candidate is and what they stand for. So, the 107 days excuse that Democrats love to repeat just does not hold water. Kamala Harris had more than enough exposure. What she did not have was a compelling message or authentic presence. Her campaign lacked direction. Her speeches lacked clarity, and her public persona often came off as forced and awkward. At the end of the day, it was not about time. It was about substance, and unfortunately for her and for the Democrats, there simply was not much of it.